Okay, so I kind of asked what people wanted to talk about tonight in our leaders group, and a lot of the leaders wanted us to kind of go over products and how to take the product, because everybody kind of feels like everybody's not on the same page as far as who takes what, when, or whatever. One of the things that you'll hear a lot regarding our product is that you can really kind of make it work however it works best for you. That's why you don't ever see somebody give you a consistent way like this is the absolute definitive way that you must take products. Because truly, most of our products you can tailor to suit yourself, your lifestyle. You know, one person might feel one way on one product, and so they change how they take it. I'm going to mute everybody really quick so we don't have a lot of background noise. So if you want to talk, you are more than welcome to do so. Just unmute your line if you want to speak up. So one of the most common combos that we sell is our triplex combo. So I'm going to kind of start with that. Typically what we would do is have people on week 1 start with their Slim. Most people do take the Slim 30 minutes before breakfast. Is that a requirement? No. That's why, it's much more difficult than like when you take a prescription, you have to take it at this time or that time because so many variables. It's not required that you take it before breakfast. Sometimes I take mine before lunch. Sometimes I take mine after lunch. It really just kind of all depends on the person and what's going to work better for them. A lot of people get a later afternoon kind of crash for energy, so they like to take their Slim later in the day, and that's perfectly fine. But for, if you've got a new customer or you're just starting out products yourself, this is kind of the general consensus that we tell people to start out with, and then you can tailor that to what is going to work out best for you. So we would say Slim 30 minutes before breakfast, and then starting the bio cleanse, 1 bio cleanse twice a day. On the bottle, it's going to tell you 2 twice a day. You don't want to start somebody out with that because that's a lot of bio cleanse, first of all, when somebody's never taken it. But it also is going to give them, time to kind of see how their body's going to respond to it. So in their first week, you would have them do those products. Typically what I personally do is tell them to take Slim for a couple of days first so they can see, how they're feeling on Slim, make sure everything is good before they introduce that next product. Then in week 2, you can introduce them into the ProBio 5. Now, a lot of people would start ProBio 5 first. That's what I personally did whenever I started it. But really the bio cleanse is going to help kind of flush out the stuff that ProBio 5 is helping kill off as far as candida and things. So already being on the bio cleanse does make sense because when you start the ProBio, you don't want a bunch of dead bacteria basically sitting in your body. You want that bio cleanse going to help flush it out. So in week 2 on the triplex, you could still do Slim before breakfast, add the 2 ProBio 5, and then at night. And then if they're doing okay with everything and the cleanse is going okay, then try to go ahead and let them bump up to 2 bio cleanse twice a day. Now, this is one of those things where you can start to tweak things with somebody and you can start to tailor them. Not everybody can tolerate 4 bio cleanse in a day. I can take 4 in a day, but typically I take 2. That's just what, my body normally what I do. For my son, he only takes 1 a day. So, this is where we'll tell you that it can take 60 to 90 days to get a good routine down because you are going to have to kind of tweak things to each individual. In week 3,
hey, Alicia, I have something to say too on that.
Yep, go ahead.
And a lot of people with gut issues like Crohn's, IBS, ulcerative colitis, things like that.
Uh-huh.
You're going to want them to seriously start off very slow, even slower than increasing it week to week,
Mm-hmm.
because the magnesium, when it hits, and especially the BioCleanse, will rip them apart. So you got to be very cautious. And if it's too much on them, you just have them move it down
Mm-hmm.
for what they can tolerate per day. And it might even be 1 for 2 weeks, and that's fine.
Right.
So
And
really watch that.
yeah, and even the same thing with the probiotics. Like some people really have a ton of candida, and if when they start on their probiotic, if you start them on 2 and they start to have die-off symptoms right away, back them back down to 1, and
Yep.
and that's okay. But then at this juncture, 2 to 3 weeks in, you should be kind of communicating pretty good with somebody and know what your goals are with them.
Yeah.
And how you're going to work them into things. Like for us, I knew right away that my son has gut issues with his ADHD and stuff, and I knew I was going to try to work him up on his probiotic 5 to get to a point where he was taking 4, because we were really trying to kill off his candida. Well, that didn't just happen in a month's time. Like we did 1 for a couple weeks, then we went to 2, and then we kind of staged it up from there. So don't feel like it's some hardcore, like I have to do it this way. But some people, they'll forget to take their BioCleanse during the day, so they want to take their BioCleanse at night with their probiotics. That's fine if that's what works for them. Some people will take it in the morning. That's fine if that's what works for them. My cousin tried to take her BioCleanse at night with her probiotic, and it has an oxygenation property, and like it doesn't bother me at all to take my BioCleanse at night. But for my cousin, she was like, well, I've been sleeping like really, really good at night and everything, and then all of a sudden, like I'm not sleeping at night as well. And so I asked her, like, well, what have you changed? What are you doing differently? And then come to find out, it kind of was right along the time that she started taking that BioCleanse at night, she was not sleeping as well. Because for some people, that oxygenation property does get their body a little bit more energy. So, like, she can't take BioCleanse at night. But, again, for me, it doesn't bother me at all if I take it at night. I can take just about anything and go to sleep. So you're going to find varying things with different people. Like some people are going to tell you they can't remember to take something in the middle of the day, so they'd rather take it at breakfast, or they would just rather take it at night. It's okay just so long as you kind of know what you're trying to work towards with them, and build it up. If it's somebody that we probably have candida issues and things like that, and you're trying to help them get on a regimen to kill off candida, you're going to try to take them through a cycle to bump them up to 4 probio. It is not going to happen overnight. You're going to need to give them some time to build up. Otherwise, die-off is going to be really hard. And the die-off symptoms can cause everything from nausea to headache to diarrhea to feeling like you're going to have a UTI. I mean, die-off symptoms are no joke. So some people would rather just do it and deal with it and let it last a week. A lot of people aren't tolerant of that, so you want to kind of gradually build them up. So that's your triplex combo. When we talk about Fab 4, that's going to be with X Factor. X Factor is our multivitamin. It has a patented aloe blend, so it helps your body absorb things better. Personally, I take my X Factor in the morning with my Slim. I was very, very sensitive to over-the-counter vitamins. Like if I tried to go like to GNC or wherever and get like women's one a day or something like that, I could never take them. They always made me very nauseous. Like even when I was pregnant, I had to take my prenatals at night. So I could never take vitamins. So I was a little apprehensive when I started X Factor, and it's a product that I don't like to go without. It does not make me sick at all. I've never had nausea with it, even if I take it on an empty stomach. I've never had any problems with it. I can tell a difference in my energy with that. But it helps because of that. Ally Blend, it helps your body absorb nutrients different, so you're going to get things better from your foods. But it also is going to help your body kind of absorb everything better. So that's where a lot of times when people are taking X Factor, they'll see like that they start reducing medications and stuff like that because things are going into their system better and they're actually hanging on to it, so to speak, in a better manner. Like my cousin, for example, she was only on Probio 5 and X Factor. She's in a wheelchair, and we kind of started her products a little differently than you would most people because she can't, take herself to the restroom and things like that. But from her being on X Factor, her body was absorbing the insulin and stuff that she was on at the time differently. So she like immediately was able to start reducing, of course with her doctor's guidance, her, like right off, she was starting to reduce the amounts of things that she was on for her diabetes. So, and now thankfully she's completely off of all of that. But like I said, it's a product that I don't like to go without at all. It's definitely one of my favorites. I can tell a huge difference in my energy during the day when I've had it versus when I have not. Alicia, do you have anything to add on X Factor?
Yeah, I was going to agree with that and then say, anyone can take it the way they want to, but it's got so much vitamin B's in it. That's what's going to give you the energy through the day. So it's probably best that you take it during the day than at night, as well as for the absorption purposes for the BioCleanse and whatever else you take too. And then real quick on the triplex, if anyone wants to personal message me, I do have a complete chart that I give all my customers and new ambassadors on how to start the triplex. It's like a 6-session start. Oh, I'm unstable.
I hear you.
Okay. It's like it's a session, like each block is a session, and each session is different for that person. Like it could take 2 days for you to feel okay and then you move to the next one, or it can take a week and you move to the next one, but it describes all that. So if any of y'all want it, just inbox me and let me know and I'll send it to you.
Is that something that you could post like on the team page?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I posted it before, but it's been a while, so I'll post it again. And then to me, it's very important when you're starting someone on triplex, I give them that handout. I text it to them, and I think it's very important you also inform them of die-off symptoms and I give them a whole list of what they can experience, because some people will feel that, freak out, and immediately stop the product thinking it's actually the plexus causing it. I mean, it is in a way, but it's actually fixing the problem. So it's very good that you educate them on that and send them the symptoms so they know what to look for and they don't automatically assume our product's killing them.
Right. And that's one of the things too that we talked about in the retention call, where we talked about, letting people know ahead of time, whether it's your customer or new ambassador that's not tried the product before, that you let them know ahead of time kind of what they can expect and that it's okay, and to make sure that they let you know when they're having issues or when they're having any die-off and things, so that you can help appropriately guide them through that. Because just like Alicia said, otherwise a lot of times people just quit, and then you're like, well, I wonder what happened, and then you never really get to help them get through that stage of the game. So that's a very important piece of it. Block, our reformulated block, you can take 4 blocks a day. Some people will do 1 before each meal. Some people will do 2 just with their 2 heaviest. I know some people only do 1, like if they're eating pretty clean, maybe they only do 1 at dinner if they're eating a heavier dinner or something like that. So block is very tailored to whatever the person is doing. Like I know, like when I was on vacation, like last week. Like I had my bottle of block and I took an extra bottle just in case because there were 6 of us girls also staying in the house. And so I was like, we would be at dinner and I'm passing out, blocks to everybody, blocks to everybody at dinner. So you can take block, really kind of, you're going to gauge that with the way that you're eating or what kind of, it's for carbs and sugars. Obviously, if I'm having a meal that's heavier in carbs and sugars, then I'm going to take 2 of them. If I'm eating pretty clean and it's, not got a lot of carbs and sugars, I may not take any at all, so that's kind of how I gauge with that product. Edge is our new launch product that came out at convention. It, some people are more sensitive with it. I've heard a lot of people say like they don't like to take it past lunchtime. I've never really, only time I've taken it past lunchtime is when like I was driving like during the night and knew I wasn't going to be home till like 2 a.m. And in that case, I was trying to make sure I stayed up. So I did take it a little later. Typically, I do take my Edge with a meal. And whether that's breakfast or lunch, just kind of depends on what's going on for me during the day. So you can take that as you see fit, depending on, your schedule and what your preference is. For me, I usually have a harder time towards the latter part of my day. So I like to take it a lot of times at lunchtime because it really helps give me the drive and push to get through the end of my day. But again, that's going to be really a personal choice on the Edge. A lot of people have seen reduction in appetite with Edge, and that's not one of the things that was a selling point for it for the energy purposes. But for me, like that's been huge. Like I definitely noticed I'm not as hungry when I take that.
Are y'all liking that? I mean, in all honesty, like the people that are taking it, are y'all having good success and like it?
Sandy's like, yes, I love it.
You do? Are you liking it?
Something can always go wrong. Anybody else want to unmute and chime in?
Yeah, I like it. I take it every now and then, like when I'm at work, but I have to take it with food as well.
Who was that?
Jessica.
Oh, okay, man. I was just wondering for myself.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I wasn't as consistent with it after convention because I ended up going on steroids and stuff for my cough, and I knew between if I was on the steroids and trying to take Edge, I thought I was going to be really on the edge. So I really, I didn't take it consistently during that time. So I've just kind of in the last week gotten regular with it, and I'm really liking it.
I just don't notice. I notice no different when I take it, except I feel tired, which is so, I know, and I can't promote that because it's us. That's why I'm saying. Sorry. But I get actually tired. I can't even take it.
That's what Madison said. Madison doesn't like it.
Yeah. And I know, and that's a good example of why supplements are different for everybody.
Yeah.
And how we react differently to everything. So I'll still promote it, but I just can't
for what it does for you. I know Bridget, we really joked about this a lot, but it puts her in such a good mood that it makes her giddy. She basically giggles all the time when she's on.
Well, I gave it to one of my nurses at work. And so she's giving report on a patient. She's like, and she's foaming and dry. And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, it's that Edge. So it almost like she was on amphetamines, literally. And she's like, you have more of that stuff? And I was like, I wish it did that to me, what you're going through.
Oh my gosh, y'all. I've been cleaning the walls with a wash rag. I've had to get out and go walking because I mean, I all day, all night, just I can't sit down with just one. I could only imagine what it would do to me if I tried to take two.
We don't take two of them for sure.
Well, I might have to.
Well, I mean, and that's one of a good example too of when like a lot of people like need to take it with food. Like if I don't take it with food, I feel like it's giving me that adrenaline push. Like, okay, you might need to go run a marathon. So then you really are in shape to do that. So, you know, so that's one of those things. Like when we tell y'all that these products you really custom tailor to fit yourself and your customer. One person may feel one kind of way on it, one person may feel a different way. So, like my sister's like, I don't really notice that it suppresses my appetite. I mean, we have the same DNA in us, and I'm like, well, it really suppresses my appetite. But then I got my PFF over here who's all giggly and like she's laughing her butt off the whole time. And I'm like, I don't get that. It doesn't do that to me, So it's definitely one of those things, like Lisa said, with supplements where everybody gets a little something different from it. So that's kind of that. What else did we want to talk about? What questions do y'all have on those that we've talked about? Sandy, you're like the only person I can see, so. So you can take Accelerator or Boost in conjunction with your Edge. Accelerator is more going to help speed up the metabolism. A lot of people, whenever I start them on that, I go ahead and let them know that they may notice that they get hungry more frequently. And a lot of people don't realize that. Well, it's because your metabolism is actually starting to kick into drive, and it's going to work for a change, whereas it might not have really been doing what it was supposed to do before. So you want them to be aware that as it's speeding up their metabolism, just make sure that they're making conscious, healthy choices regarding snacks and stuff. Because a lot of people will be like, oh my God, I took this and now I'm hungry. Well, good, because it's actually making your body do what it's supposed to do, which over time is going to be good. Accelerator is not a standalone product. It is to work in conjunction with the Plexus Slim. So that's not something that you want somebody just buy an Accelerator if they're not on Slim. The Boost has a thermogenic in it that actually helps kind of warm your body up to burn off fat. I typically do not recommend a Boost for somebody that has like a desk job that sits down a lot. I do recommend it a lot for people who are working out. It's a good thing for, like, when I was going to the gym and working with a trainer, he's like, that's the best thing in the world. Please take that before you come see me every time, because it already has me warmed up, so to speak, internally. So, like, when I started cranking out my workout, I would split it out real fast, and, it was great for me. But if I took the exact same routine, the exact same food, everything, in a day when I didn't go work out with him, and I took that Boost in the morning, I would be sleepy the whole day at work. Because it's really there to help, like, to push you to go. And if you aren't doing something, then it's not going to have the same effect on you, if that makes sense. So, again, I usually tailor that depending on the person. So if you know kind of what they're looking to get from it. Accelerator, I forgot to mention the Accelerator Plus also has a 5-HTP in it, which is a natural mood enhancer. It 5-HTP is for, like, your body produces natural serotonin. So a lot of people who have anxiety and things like that, they do really well working on those products. So that's another thing regarding the accelerators. Go ahead.
Alicia, I did also have a question I meant to ask about the triplex. I'm just interested to see people, how many of y'all are taking it at night with your probiotics at the same time?
The what?
The probiotic and the BioCleanse.
Alicia, this is Joanna. I do that a lot because I forget to either bring it with me or it's just I forget during the day. So I do that, and I don't have any issue at all with that.
Okay.
It doesn't wash it out before it has time to work.
That's what I had, I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. That's what I had read from the project or the product developer, saying that if you take the BioCleanse and the probiotic, I'm sorry. Sorry. 5-month-old puppy's hungry. If you take the two together, the BioCleanse, the oxygenation in it inhibits the probiotic from doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Well, that's important to know, so that's good.
Yes, just be careful doing that because I used to do it too, just for convenience. So now in the morning, I take the 2 BioCleanse with my Slim and my X Factor. And then when I get home from work, I just take the other 2 BioCleanse. So it's just a standard thing and it fits right in the schedule normally. But I just didn't want to take a chance of it interfering, of course, with the probiotic because how important that is.
I'm going to send that in because I have seen that stated somewhere before, and it's one of those things where, like you see one person will say one thing, and then you'll see somebody else say something different.
Yes.
And I've seen that stated both ways. I've seen it stated that no, that's not true, and
Yeah.
I've seen it stated that is true. So I'm going to put that on my list. Actually, just put it on my sticky notes. To send in, and it may take me a couple of days to get clarification on it. Sometimes it'll take a week or whatever. And I'll post about that on our page when I get some clarification. So I would just like to hear. I would like to get an official word.
Absolutely. That's 2 of the most important products, and we need to make sure we're doing it right.
Absolutely.
Jessica has a question.
What was that, Jessica?
How do you know when you're taking the right amount of product? Like I know the max on the probiotic is 4, and I guess the max on the BioCleanse is 4 a day. Right now I'm taking 2 BioCleanse at lunch, and then I just take 1 probiotic at night. And I haven't had any like die off or detox symptoms. I haven't had any negative symptoms, rather. I mean, is the goal to take 4 at night? Like, are you supposed to work up to that, or is 1 a day sufficient?
I think, okay, so for complete die-off of yeast, you have to get up to 4. You don't have to stay there, though. Everyone is different. You need to work yourself up to 4, stay there at least for a week or so, and then you can go back down to 2. 2 is the maintenance dose.
Okay.
I stay at 4 usually all the time because when I back down to 3, I start getting sugar cravings again. And when I'm at 4, the only time I crave sugar is like day 1 or 2 of my period. So I stay at 4. But again, everyone is different. I have people that are on 2 maintenance, but if you're only on 1 and have ever been on 1, you've never probably had die-off at all.
Right.
Okay.
And
What about the BioCleanse? How many do I need to be work? Is that like a max thing, or is
I think
2
the max,
sufficient?
the max on that, and I've read things where I've seen people do 6 and stuff. I think that's crazy because there's a reason, there's a dose amount, and you don't want all that magnesium. Like, you got to watch stuff too. People think the more the better, and that's not always true. I would do a max of 4, and again, everyone is different. If you can at least try to get 2 in, I would at least do that. But if you can do 2 to 4, that would be what I would recommend. Alicia, do you agree?
I agree 100%.
Now, unless you're smaller, like a child, like Alicia's child, both my kids, they do one bio cleanse, and they're 13 and 12, and they both do probiotics. Because you just
How
gotta.
many probiotics do they do?
They each do 2, but I had them up to 3 for about 2 weeks, and then I brought them back down to 2.
And you'll hear varying things even on that, because depending on the age of the person, how many steroids they've been on in their life, how many rounds of antibiotics they've been on in their life, how clean they've eaten, how much processed food they've ingested, that kind of stuff. All kind of does a play on how long do you really have to stay at for to get Candida, to get it completely gone. And when I say completely gone, I mean overgrowth gone, not completely gone. The body's
Right. Because you do want yeast in your gut. That's a normal body flora. You don't want to rip it all out, or then you're going to have other issues. So.
Right. So you're going to have some Candida, but you don't want Candida overgrowth. Okay. So, for me, I'm like Alicia. Like if I go below 4, I can tell a difference in how I feel. So for me, my dosage is 4, and I've just kind of accepted that, and I move along with it. My younger kids, take 1. My son that has severe ADHD, I maintenance him on 4 right now as well, because I can tell a difference in him. I did at one point try to back him back down to 2, and I can tell a difference in his behavior and his focus and everything. So, but like a maintenance dose is 2. And my younger kids that do 1, they do 1, but they're 4 and 5. My twins are 4 and my daughter's 5. So when I say 1, just so you know, my 15-year-old does a maintenance dose of 2. He didn't have a lot of Candida issues, surprisingly, but he's been my healthiest kid, so he's not been on as much stuff. It's what some of my other ones have as far as antibiotics and steroids throughout time and stuff like that. So you just have to kind of go with what you feel on that. But like she said, if you've not been up to 4, then you've not, gone through the die-off piece of things. I've heard people say it take as long as a year for Candida to really die off, and I've done maintenance dose on. Kept my quote unquote maintenance dose of 4 for probably close to a year now. But when I back off, I'm just like Alicia. I can totally tell a difference. So I just kind of keep mine where it is. So whether it's that in the future my gut will be completely healed, maybe it's all the years of Big Macs I've eaten, I don't know how many in my life, or all that Coke I drank when I was drinking 3 and 4 Cokes a day, and I say 3 or 4, it's probably more like 5 or 6, but but when you do that for years and years, I just mentally anticipate it would take a lot more time to get through that,
Thank you.
You're so welcome. What other questions do y'all have?
Alicia, I have a question on the accelerator. This is Joanna. So the accelerator, I was reading that it's, for short-term use, same with Boost.
Mm-hmm.
So how long do you tell people to take that? What's the time frame? I couldn't find a time frame. It just said short-term, because you worry about blood pressure and stuff like that.
Are you about to answer that? Because you look like you are. I'm ready to answer it, but you look like you were ready, so.
You go ahead, and then I'll add on my 2 cents.
Okay. I typically will say 6 weeks, like 6 to 8 weeks. If they take it for that amount of time, then, give yourself a couple weeks off to kind of balance in between, and just really kind of gives your metabolism a way to, so that it's not doing the same thing every day. Like, you go off of it, then your body you're keeping your body guessing, so to speak. And then when you go back, it'll kind of jumpstart you again.
I agree. I usually say, 6 weeks. I usually say 2 months on, 1 month off. And on that 1 month off, if they want to use Boost instead, you can alternate them. But I actually didn't follow that. I took Accelerator for probably 6 months. But I'm not your typical, I'll do what I say not to do. I'll admit it.
Do as I say, not as I do. I know, because I'll take it for 4 or 5 months in a row.
Yeah. But then what I noticed is that, Joanna, I wasn't feeling like it was doing what it had in the beginning. So I don't know if your body becomes almost like a tolerant.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't take it. I haven't taken it probably in 2 months, and I actually took it today for the first time, and I actually felt again like I had in the beginning. So I think your body gets tolerant and become plateaus. So I would tell 2 on and 1 off, and do it that way.
All right, thanks.
Who else has questions? Good questions, you guys. Anybody?
Oh, so while I have y'all on here, the ones that missed last week about the question and answers, since we're talking about products, please make sure that when you are selling to customers and or signing people up, that most of y'all are not healthcare, so you don't think to ask of allergies, but you are promoting and sharing products that people that are allergic can have significant reactions, such as iodine is in block, natural iodine from the seaweed, so you need to make sure they're not allergic to iodine. And then in the E's, the green lip mussel it's a shellfish. So you need to make sure they have no allergies to shellfish. That's very important, because some people can be, significant allergies, which could be bad.
And we didn't go through the whole entire product line, but I think that the ones that we went through tonight are the ones that we usually get the most questions from.
Right.
Obviously, if you have questions regarding the Eve line or anything like that, feel free to message us or post them on the team page, and we'll answer questions from there. But yes, like Alicia said, the Eve pain relief products do contain that green lipid mussel. So if somebody has shellfish allergy, that is a big no-no.
And the block has iodine, you said?
Yes. Yeah, the seaweed, it's not going to, it might say it on the bottle, but the seaweed, the brown seaweed, is a natural form of iodine. It has it in it.
Okay.
I just ran to grab this is one of the old bottles, so it doesn't say.
Is that the old bottle or the new?
It's the old bottle.
Let me see.
But it does say that it contains naturally occurring iodine. It does say on the bottle.
Then the other one will too. And most will be fine, guys.
This is the poor bottle that I had when that I was using when we were at convention, and it kind of got kicked to the curb, and I'm not messing with it. I probably ordered me a whole bunch of the other ones.
That's hilarious. So, and with the iodine, we have iodized salt that everyone uses. So it's probably very similar in that, but it's just good to warn them just in case.
Yeah, it's always smart to ask if people have any allergies, and ask them if they're taking any medication. Because a lot of times people will be like, no, I don't have any health issues. If you ask them that, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I'm on Lexapro and this and that and whatever. It's not a health condition to them, because they're considering high blood pressure or diabetes as a health condition. They don't consider the fact that they're on 5 different medications for mood a health issue. Well, it is. So, I always just try to ask if they're on any kind of medication, because in that way you can try to help. And if you go through that process, and if you don't know, then you can always reach out and ask. Anybody else have any other questions? We went a lot longer than I thought we would, but I'm glad that we had good questions and stuff tonight. So that's awesome. Anybody? Going once, going twice. Okay, so Sandy, did you get your thing from, did it come through to you yet on PayPal? Oh, you're muted. Hold on, let me see if I can unmute you.
I did.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. I
Okay,
haven't
I just
got a PayPal, but it's arrived.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I had to. Sandy's the one that won our drawing for the $100. So I had to send that while I was gone, and then I didn't follow up to make sure she got it. So I'm going to let me stop our recording.